Hi, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Coffee Break Podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Amy.
And today we're going to talk about Stanley Kubrick, the great director and cinematographer.
Yes, there's so many things that you can talk about Kubrick with. I mean, just all the he's done so many. I can't even tell you how many movies he's directed.
10.
Well, apparently Kyle could tell you.
No, I can't. I'm just throwing a number out there.
Okay, well, I thought the answer was always 42.
You're right. The answer is always 42,
Okay,
Amy.
so 42, regardless of how many actual films that he's put out. I have not seen them all because I feel like it's kind of impossible to track them all down, which is not really the case because they do sell the Stanley Kubrick box set.
Do they now?
Yes.
How many movies are in it?
I don't know. I want to say they don't include A Clockwork Orange, though, which is one of my favorites, which I know sounds weird, but...
Not really.
I just feel like...
It's not...
I just feel like the whole world... I mean, I read the book after I saw the movie, which is kind of the case for a lot of the things that I've seen that have been turned into movies.
He was a director on 16 films. Writer on 15 films. I really thought it would have been more than that.
Yeah.
Producer on 11 films.
Yeah.
Which pretty much, they're all, a lot of them are the same movies, written, directed, and produced by.
Yeah,
he was also in Eyes Wide Shut, Full Metal Jacket, and Lolita. Probably just bit roles.
Yeah, probably like Hitchcock with his, cameo roles there. Well, I honestly feel like he's done so much more, but I guess it's just his career had spanned so many decades. And the other thing that I always thought was interesting was that I always felt that Kubrick kind of did a film in every genre.
Yeah, if you just looking at his IMDb page, Eyes Wide Shut, romance drama.
That's a stretch. I mean, it's a smut film, really.
A smut drama, smutty drama. Full Metal Jacket, war film.
Yes.
The Shining,
horror.
A Clockwork Orange.
Action violence.
Action ultra violent.
Yes.
2001: A Space Odyssey, space movie.
Yes. Obviously.
Dr. Strangelove. Yep, that's a movie.
I'd say more. That's
Lolita.
A spoof film. Yes, and then Lolita.
Lolita would be a love story?
Yeah, a twisted, very twisted indeed.
Just by the movies that I have mentioned, they all have a bit of a twist to them.
Yes, well, and I feel like that's what Kubrick brought whenever he, approached a subject or approached a project that he wanted to do.
Yes.
There was always that, Kubrick twist.
Spartacus.
War epic, I will say.
War epic, yeah.
Which I actually haven't seen Spartacus.
Kirk Douglas.
Yes.
Spartacus.
I know the whole I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus.
I am Spartacus.
Yes, that's really all I know, which is bad. Which, we're obviously not going to talk about Spartacus because
Paths
I don't
of Glory, another war movie.
Yeah, so, okay, more war and epic-y than others, but, I mean...
But they all had that sense of twist, and...
Yes.
My God, that man knew how to shoot.
Yes.
Knows how to shoot. He's still alive, apparently.
No,
I shouldn't talk
died.
about him like that. Oh, shit, yeah, he died.
Yeah.
March 7th, 1999.
He died shortly after, or slightly before they released Eyes Wide Shut. I do remember that.
I'm very sorry that is going to be his,
last movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone is kind of in agreement with that. I can't even tell you how old I was when I saw it. I clearly did not do, a search about what the movie was about, and then I just saw Eyes Wide Shut. I know it's Kubrick. I've been meaning to watch it, and then I watched it by myself, and I was maybe 16, and I was just what is happening? What is going on? why are all these people naked? And why am I watching this when it's starring Tom Cruise? Couldn't they have picked anyone else?
Was it because it was a Tom Cruise movie?
Probably.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm a Tom Cruise fan, but his movies do put me to sleep.
Yeah. I'm not Tom Cruise, man. I think it was more. This was after he went on, jumped on the couch with Oprah. After he proclaimed his love for Scientology.
And the Joey from Dawson's Creek.
Oh, yeah, Katie Holmes.
Yeah, her.
Yes. But we're not talking about Tom Cruise. We're talking about Stanley Kubrick.
No. Yes.
Yes, and I don't even want to talk about Eyes Wide Shut any more than that because I really don't remember. I think my memory of Eyes Wide Shut is pretty just scarred. I was like, Tom Cruise, bleh.
Basically, when it comes to Kubrick, just about every film that he's done is an iconic film. It really is. Film students go through these. Cinematography students themselves look at the way that these films are shot because the man had a photographer's eye.
Yes.
He started out as a photographer. And that's why everything is... the subjects are centered or just off-center of the shots.
Yes.
If you look at his films.
Yes.
And that's why I enjoy his films a lot. And that's why I enjoy The Man.
Yes. Same thing. I just love... all of his cinematography has always been extraordinarily breathtaking. I mean, especially, I think 2001, when, that infamous scene when, he's in the spaceship standing outside. Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I can't do that, Dave.
Yes. And you're just sitting there in space.
Nobody can hear you scream.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, no, that was Alien.
Well, yes, but it's really true for every space movie.
Mm-hmm. Because there's no air in space.
Exactly.
A lot of his movies were also film adaptations from novels.
Yes. And I think what I tried to do was I know I've read Lolita. I've read The Shining. I love The Shining. I'm a big Stephen King fan. I blame my mother for that. I've read majority of Stephen King's works. And then I'm drawing a blank. What else?
Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange, yes, which I've also read. So I'd say 3 out of, the...
I think Eyes Wide Shut was also based on a novel.
I want to say. Yeah. We'll go with yeah.
What?
I feel like everything is inspired by something.
A Full Metal Jacket. That's really two movies in one. After the initial basic training, it just turns into a full-out war movie. Mm-hmm. It goes from a drama in the barracks to a full-out war movie in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. No, yes, Vietnam. So
I actually haven't seen Full Metal Jacket.
It's a great film.
I'm kind of sounding like the worst Kubrick fan. This is what this podcast is about.
Some of these I wasn't paying attention that it was a Kubrick movie. It just, that looks like a good movie, so I watched it. And then later on, I'm like, hey, Stanley Kubrick.
No wonder I liked it so much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The Shining, on the other hand, I saw when I was
could literally talk about The Shining, all day.
Well, we could talk about The Shining. Let's talk about The Shining. It was shot very well. There was mirror imaging just about everywhere.
Yes. Actually, did you know that there is a documentary about The Shining and about
like the real life Shining?
No.
Was it based on real life?
No.
Was it something that Stephen King got into? It was like, this hotel is haunted.
Well, I mean,
there's these two little girls that followed me everywhere.
Inspired by not exactly the two little. Come play with us. The twin girls from.
Play with us.
Yes, not exactly inspired by that, but he did stay at a hotel, and him and his wife were the only two people in there, and they were like, "Well, wouldn't it be creepy if someone had to stay here the entire winter? Wouldn't they go crazy?" And then later on, he wrote The Shining, and then here you go.
Don't you think it would be creepy? Just being the only people there, no matter what time of year it was.
Yes, but I feel like during winter it's more isolating, especially, and that's what made it so creepy because you essentially had this family, and then the hotel itself was a whole nother character, essentially. I mean, it was haunted by, all these spirits of whatever, and then,
Was
built
it really,
on top of an Indian burial ground.
Was it really haunted, though, or was it all in Jack's head?
That's up to your own interpretation. But what I was going to say was
Because all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Yes, it does.
Okay, what were you going to say?
Yes. Excuse me. I was going to say that there is a documentary called Room 236 or something to that extent. Probably should have looked this up before we did the podcast. Anyways, there's a documentary about all these different not just fan theories, but about like how The Shining is a metaphor for how the space landing wasn't real, and and some of them are just flat out crazy.
You were very close. Room 237.
Okay, Room 237 is the name of the movie. I just remember this one particular guy saying that it was very clear that the whole reason why in the book it was Room 217, I can't remember the exact. It was like 217 or something. Was the haunted room, the room that you never go into, that Danny ended up going into. But then they changed it for the movie to Room 237. And this one guy was just like, well, that's clearly his way of saying that he was, that Stanley Kubrick helped shoot like the setup for the moon landing, and the moon landing was fake, and Stanley Kubrick helped film the video that they then showed it to us to say like, oh, we landed on the moon and blah blah. Like, this guy was flat out crazy.
What's the connection with 237?
That was the stage and what lot he was on.
Oh.
Where they shot. It was, once I got to that, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, I was getting like angry because I couldn't listen to this guy anymore. But then another one was like relationships between like the Native Americans and stuff like that. But
it was built on an ancient Indian burial ground.
Yes.
So.
But that it was that that there was a lot of symbolism within the film, like something about like when they're in the pantry, the cans of Comet, or like the baking powder or the baking soda, they're a certain way when we first go in there with Dick Halloran, and when Wendy is Dick Halloran is giving Wendy the tour of the pantry, and there's just these stacks and stacks and stacks of the Comet baking soda.
Okay.
And they're faced a specific way. But once she locks Jack in the pantry, after he tries to bash her skull in with a baseball bat and he falls down the stairs and knocks himself out, she drags him into the pantry, and they're all faced a different way, as if, and then someone was like, oh, if this is a symbolizing, the Americans turning their backs on the Native Americans and blah, blah, blah. And it's
okay.
An interesting documentary. I don't think there's any factual basis.
It's just a whole bunch of conspiracy theories.
Yes, it's conspiracy theories. However, there was one that I thought was not a conspiracy theory, but the theory of the science behind what made The Shining scary or made you feel uneasy. Things like when Jack first went into the hotel to interview for the position. He's at the main entrance. He takes like 2 rights and a left, and you go into the hotel manager's office. And the hotel manager's office has a window in it. But how could there be a window there when they're in the middle of the hotel?
Could be a courtyard.
There was no courtyard there. Things like stuff like that. And when Danny is playing with his trucks right before he goes into room 237, he's playing on the carpet. And in one scene, the carpet and the direction of the carpet and the colors of the carpet, if you notice very carefully, are one way. And when you go to his reverse shot, as opposed to the aerial shot, the shot from behind him, the carpet is completely different. It's subtle things like that you're like, I don't know why this is creeping me out, but this is creeping me out.
I guess I just never noticed those things.
Yeah, and like that film pointed that out, and I was like, huh, well, that makes sense. Like, no wonder if they're telling me that there's a window where there shouldn't be, or if they're saying that, the carpet and the hotel is, supposed to be like this, and then all of a sudden it's like this. Well, it's like your brain is trying to compensate and trying to match what the hell's going on, but it can't. So
I don't know. I would just, the way I see it and why I'm creeped out by it is, what if it was me? What if I was the one that was alone in that giant hotel?
Yeah.
Isolated from everything. The roads are blocked. You can't get out. You're stuck there the entire winter. Yeah, your mind's just going to start playing tricks on itself. Or it really is haunted.
Yeah.
And that's just creepy to me.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes. It's very creepy. And one side note, I just want to talk about the scoring of the movie The Shining.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. That is the creepiest music, like, ever. It's just immediately from when you hit play on your DVD player, it's just, this weird disconnected as you're watching this scenic view of them driving to the Overlook Hotel, which is gorgeous. And then there's just this creepy, harpsichord-y kind of not techno, but technologically, like, computerized. I like, can't even describe it. It's so creepy. It's just so creepy. But all of that played into creating this world that was supposed to make you feel uneasy. And you feel uneasy from the beginning of that movie.
You really do, yeah.
Another instance.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Actually, speaking of music and scoring, we can't talk about, scoring in Kubrick's films without talking about 2001 and the whole beginning sequence of that movie.
Right.
I mean, da da da. I can't even.
Really, when I started doing that, my head immediately went to Star Wars.
Oh. To the other space movie.
Yeah.
The one that Kubrick did.
Kubrick didn't do Star Wars?
No.
I mean, that opening shot with the spaceship coming in, it was, perfect center screen, and then it just widened out from there. I thought, no? Okay. I know. It was Lucas and Spielberg.
Okay.
Right? I know it was Lucas. Shit.
Yes.
I just lost my geek card.
Yes, you did. I even knew that, Kyle.
So, 2001: A Space Odyssey starts out with monkeys around a monolith.
Yes, but before that... there's the whole...
Big Bang?
Earth, yes. Earth and the moon and all of that. And
It's been like 15 years since I've seen this movie.
It's okay.
Forgive me if I don't... I really do have to revisit it, though.
Yes. But that's just what I remember first, is that whole scene, and that's how you start out the movie, and that's how... I guess that's kind of a theme with Kubrick, is that he starts out his films with, these... Immediately with the scoring.
Yep.
Immediately sets you up with unforgettable imagery, and, it sets the tone for the film.
Yeah, thinking back to Clockwork Orange and Full Metal Jacket, it starts out with a score and something... bus. Yeah, the bus comes into frame in Full Metal Jacket, and they start out in the milk bar.
Oh, the milk bar, yes.
Milk bar on Clockwork Orange. So.
Yes, God,
and
I really haven't seen it.
It starts out with Malcolm McDowell center of the screen.
Yes.
And it pulls in tighter as he talks.
Yes, as he's giving like his monologue and, again, setting the tone for the film.
Yep. Ultraviolence.
Yes, ultraviolence. That's just what I'm going to call it from now on. But it's Kubrick, man. I mean, I feel like he blows it out of the water. I felt like every genre he tried to conquer,
right.
he just nailed it. I mean, he never made another horror movie or before The Shining, and
right.
I feel like The Shining is like the number one like scariest movie.
How far away from the source material did he go with that movie, though?
There were liberties. I did see The Shining well before I read The Shining. And I read The Shining like maybe 3 or 5 years ago. He did kill off one of the major characters who lived in the rest of the series, and then eventually the sequel that Stephen King wrote like a year or two ago, or 3 or 4, whatever. Time is relative.
Yeah, Scatman Crothers.
Yes, Scatman Crothers, who played Dick Halloran. I know that because we
Dick
looked...
Halloran.
Dick Halloran.
I just go with Hong Kong Phooey when I can't remember his name.
That too. But yeah, we always remember that Danny is, speaking to Scatman Crothers or Hong Kong Phooey.
Or Dick Halloran.
Through, The Shining. Through The Shining. And he finally gets him up there, gets him from Florida, by the way, to Colorado in the dead-ass middle of winter.
In like a day.
In like a day, by the way. And then, he's trying to rescue Danny and save Wendy, and, Jack Nicholson just takes an axe and just practically, just chops his heart in half.
Yep.
And just kills him right in the middle of the hotel. And in the book, he lives. He's in the second book. He's in the sequel. He's in Dr. Sleep, talking to Danny about how they're going to get through this and all that, and like you're like, well, wait a minute, that's not right. But I mean, you have to, I guess, to really enjoy The Shining the movie and The Shining the book, you kind of have to see them as two separate entities.
Right.
And that was also, I know Stephen King's big, problem that he had with Stanley Kubrick doing The Shining, adapting The Shining to film. Also, the fact that he thought that Jack Nicholson playing Jack Torrance was very obvious that he was going to go crazy. I mean, you kind of knew.
Yeah.
You know when Jack Nicholson is in the movie, he's not 100% there. He's not one of those guys.
I have to look up, because I don't remember how long in between One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and The Shining were. So.
Yes. Also, another movie that was adapted from a book.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's
Yes.
Nest? Was it Kubrick?
No.
Then I don't care.
Exactly.
No.
That's another podcast for another day. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was written by Ken Kesey, or Ken Casey, however you'd like to, describe it. I have read the book quite recently. One of the major this isn't a Kubrick film. I can't remember who directed it, so I'm sorry. I'm sure Kyle is looking it up. Kyle is looking it up.
Okay, The Shining is 1980.
Yes.
And One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was 1975. Mm-hmm. It was by...
So there's about a 5-year gap between him doing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and then doing The Shining. I mean, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest obviously takes place in a mental institution. Milos Forman
was the writer on the film.
Lawrence Hauben was the writer.
Yes, Lawrence Hauben was the writer. Milos Forman was the director.
Yes,
Okay.
I can't come up with another movie that these two individuals have done. I'm sorry. But I mean, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest
took
Armadeus, place in a mental...
Man on the Moon, The People versus Larry Flint.
Oh. These are only iconic films. that I've never seen, apparently.
Yeah, so those people did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1975, and then Kubrick comes along and goes, "Hey, Jack Nicholson, let's get in The Shining" in 1980. So
Yes.
he did. Nicholson did a few movies in between, but
Yeah.
I put IMDb away. So
Yes. Well, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is, I want to say, where he got one of his Academy Award nominations.
yes,
And the movie is outstanding.
yes, it really is.
It's so great. I will say the one difference in that movie, as opposed to the book, is that through the chief, he is the narrator in the book.
The chief is the narrator?
Yes,
Okay.
the chief is the narrator.
The
Which
guy
I
that
think,
doesn't talk is the narrator.
yes, but he was an observer. So he could tell you things about, like, what old R.P. McMurphy was doing when he didn't think anyone was looking and things like that. And it was an extra insight, which I think would have added to the film, but they didn't do it, so...
They couldn't they could have narration, but
Yeah.
just an omnipotent observer.
Yes.
But I think it would have took away from the film itself, having somebody talk you through what's going on
Yeah.
through the film.
Yeah. But that was really the only noticeable
Yeah.
difference to me. But back to Kubrick. We keep getting off topic. We're doing a great job of this.
Back to Kubrick. What else did we do?
Oh, we haven't talked about Lolita yet.
I still haven't seen it. I found it, and I haven't seen it. I haven't watched it.
Okay. Well, let me just say that Lolita is long. It is quite a long film.
Yeah, I think the runtime was like 2 hours and 43 minutes or something.
Yeah, and again, I haven't seen it in quite a while, but I still remember his ending to the movie. I felt was cut. It was very sudden. The movie just ended, and I remember from the book that, old Humbert, right? That's his...
Sure.
Yeah. Is sitting in jail after murdering the guy who kidnapped Lolita and, like, set her free from his, obviously his semi-incestuous relationship with his stepdaughter. So, not always sticking to the source material is Kubrick, but, I guess that's kind of his style.
So at the end of the movie, the guy just gets killed, and that's where it gets cut?
No, there's not even, like, a killing. Like, he finds him, and then there's just, like, a billboard that just says, like, oh, this, I can't remember his name, was murdered, and Humbert did time, blah, blah, blah. From Paramount. The end.
Well, at 2 hours and 43 minutes, they probably said, that's long enough, let's just put a plaque up.
Exactly. So I wasn't too thrilled with the ending on that one. However, that was, of the films that we've talked about, that was, I want to say, earlier on in his career than, let's say, The Shining.
I think that was 1960
Yeah.
something. It was before The Shining, way before
Yes,
The
way
Shining.
before The Shining. And before A Clockwork Orange as well.
Yes. So Kubrick's Clockwork Orange, Malcolm McDowell's awesome performance as...
Alex DeLarge.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Because I always see Malcolm McDonald as Alex DeLarge. I will never not see him. Even as, like, an old man, basically, which sounds terribly insulting. But I will always see Malcolm McDowell. I will always see him as Alex DeLarge. I can't see him as anything else. Even in that taco commercial that he's doing now. I'm like, what is Alex DeLarge doing? Trying to sell tacos, stand-and stuffed tacos.
He was in Franklin and Bash.
Yes, that was what he was in that I couldn't remember recently.
That was...
Semi-recently.
It was a good show. I think it got cut last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was a good show. And thinking about it, Alex grew up, got his law degree, became uber rich, had all of these adventures all over the world, and then retired in South Beach and opened a firm and just hired these two wacky lawyers.
What would be the title?
Because
Of that sequel.
he had stabbed a guy.
Yeah.
He was on trial for stabbing the guy and everything in that show.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that works.
Yeah, not exactly a stretch
No.
for dear old Malcolm there.
Clockwork Orange. Was it good? I enjoyed the movie. Apparently you read the book, because you read
Yes,
stuff.
sorry. My bad. Again, difference that we've talked about before off of this podcast between the movie and the book version was the ending.
Yeah.
When Kubrick directed it, he took the original print version. However, apparently when it was later revealed that there was an original last chapter to A Clockwork Orange that had not been originally printed, and he found out about this basically while he was writing the script and was just like, I'm too far along, let's just stick with the original.
Right. Was he doing the script, or had they already started shooting?
I think he was, I think there's conflicting reports, but I want to say they had already put a good amount of work
Okay.
into the film already.
All right.
So it was not changed in time to, or I don't know if it was going to intentionally anyways, be changed to go with the rest of the, holding true to the adaptation of the book. But other than that, they did, I think all of Kubrick's films do a great job of adapting the original source material to film versions. And real quick, because I just remembered, another example of music used, or music used in certain scenes. You know exactly what I'm going to talk about.
If it's the home invasion song?
Yes.
Yeah. Singing in the Rain.
While he's violently beating this guy, and then they're just horrifically raping his wife. I mean, I couldn't, me personally, I don't know about you, but I couldn't listen to that for a while after watching that movie. I love Singing in the Rain. It's one of my favorite movies, and I was like, I need to not,
I need to distance myself from that happy movie
for a little bit, and it took me a couple months before I could actually go back to watching Singing in the Rain and not being like, this is not good.
Yeah.
This is making me remember A Clockwork Orange.
It definitely puts a different viewpoint on something like that, though.
Yeah.
You watch that scene from Clockwork Orange, and then, down the road, you go and watch Singing in the Rain, and then you just see Alex beating the crap out of this old guy and raping his wife.
Yes.
While,
viciously.
who the hell was in that movie? Singing in the Rain.
Oh, Gene Kelly.
Gene Kelly. Well, you watch Gene Kelly dancing around while it's pouring, and while he's kicking the puddles, all you see is Alex kicking the old guy.
Yes, while he's singing about how it's a glorious feeling, he's happy again.
Yep.
And he's happy by beating the shit out of this old guy and
Right.
viciously raping his wife.
Yes. Yeah, outside of the period piece movies, everything kind of had a futuristic twist on them.
Yeah, that's a good
Kubrick
point,
movies.
too. Yeah.
Well, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Obviously, it has it because it is futuristic.
Yeah.
But A Clockwork Orange was futuristic.
London, yes.
London.
Except they were still using vinyl. Or
Which
cassette players.
Which was still awesome. No, he went in specifically for vinyls.
Okay.
For vinyl
Yes,
records,
yes, he did.
because they had better sound to them.
Yes.
So you can listen to Mozart while having threesomes.
Yes.
Violent threesomes.
Yes. Violent threesomes. I don't think Alex DeLarge did anything less than violent.
I think he showered okay.
I think he drank his milk quite, calmly at the milk bar. There was some in-between bits that were a little.
But yeah, fast driving, violence.
Everything.
Yeah, violent everything.
Except drinking milk and showering.
Yes. Even putting on his codpiece was like, get on there!
Functional and fashionable.
Not really.
Yeah,
Fashionable.
Whatever. I don't know.
The top hats, though.
Yes.
Or the bowlers.
They're quite spiffy.
They were spiffy bowlers.
Yes, and that one eyelash.
Yes.
He wore. Yeah. So, overall,
Kubrick.
Is Kubrick your favorite director, would you say?
I would say Kubrick is my favorite director because the overarching works that he's done in his life, I like more of his works than I do, say, like Spielberg's or Lucas or some other director. James Gunn. Let's go with James Gunn.
Sure.
Marvel, director on Marvel movies. But only, yeah. So, yes, Kubrick is my favorite director.
I think Kubrick is also. It's kind of a toss. I mean, I love Hitchcock, too.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know that, Kubrick has also been influenced by Hitchcock. But who hasn't, really?
Right.
It's really a tie between those two. But,
Right.
I mean, my reasons for loving Kubrick are really the same. I mean, there really aren't a lot of directors that are as versatile
Right.
as Kubrick. I mean, like I said earlier, every, adaptation of any book he's done, I feel that he's knocked it out of the park. Even tackling all the different genres that he's tackled. I mean, you really can't look at all of those other directors and see a sci-fi movie, see, I guess a smutty romance movie.
Take like Michael Bay or Jerry Bruckheimer or something like that.
Yeah.
They are known for action movies.
Big showy action
movies. Or even big showy television
show, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Kubrick, he has this plethora of movie genres that he does, and the rest of these guys are basically set on one specific genre.
Yeah.
I mean, Spielberg, yes, he's done horror with Jaws, he's done space with E.T., he's done war with Saving Private Ryan.
But I feel
Where
like
was I going with that?
He's done a lot, but it's not the same.
Right.
It's not the same as with Kubrick.
Thank you. Yes, that's where I was going with that. And Kubrick always puts his own, like we said at the beginning, Kubrick always puts his own little twist into these movies. Mm-hmm. So that's what brings me to the Kubrick genre, Kubrick films.
Kubrick genre. Yeah, Kubrick is his own genre.
Kubrick is his own genre, yes.
Kubrick.
The Kubrick.
Yes.
Kubrick-esque films.
Kubricism? I don't know, I'm just making up.
There we go.
Making up words now.
Well, now that we're making up words, maybe we should just say thanks for listening
to us ramble on and on about Stanley Kubrick in a semi-coherent manner.
Gushing over Kubrick in this episode of the Coffee Break Podcast.